In this podcast episode, Owen and Ryan Dalton share their harrowing experience of being arrested on Little St. James, commonly known as Epstein Island, as part of the Epstein Isn't Dead campaign. They discuss their motivations, the details of their expedition, the disturbing realities uncovered about the island and its current management, and delve deeply into the complex conspiracy theories surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's alleged death. The conversation touches on issues of corruption, blackmail, systemic cover-ups, and the broader implications for democracy and society. The episode opens with Owen touching on a new development following a previous podcast episode. They secured a building at 7 South Main Street in Memphis for a treatment center, a number Owen calls perfect, linking it with their ongoing mission. This opportunity arose when a friend in Memphis law enforcement connected them with a couple who own a historic building once used as a brewery and recording studio. The couple tragically lost their son to a fentanyl overdose, inspiring their support for Owen's anti-trafficking and recovery efforts through We Fight Monsters. The conversation quickly shifts to the extraordinary events on Little St. James. Owen recounts the preparation to visit the island alongside Ryan Dalton, a former State Department diplomatic security special agent, as part of an effort to reignite public focus on Epstein's criminal network. Their plan was symbolic, to plant a We Fight Monsters flag on the island's beach, reclaiming the space for positive purposes. Owen initially believed the island's ownership had changed to a billionaire looking to develop a resort. And since Virgin Islands beaches cannot be privately restricted, they expected access would be manageable. The group of 5 chartered a fishing-style boat from St. John and approached the island. Due to rocky terrain, they couldn't beach the boat and had to swim approximately 50 to 100 yards carrying gear, leaving Owen nearly exhausted upon arrival. The island, contrary to expectations, was surprisingly visible and busy with people and ATVs, uncharacteristic for a supposed secret getaway. Once on shore, the trio ascended a challenging near-vertical 400-yard climb to the infamous temple, a distinctive blue and gold striped structure that once served as a pivotal location for Epstein's activities. They intended only to take pictures and plant flags, not enter any buildings. However, their presence was quickly noted, and Owen was detained by island security, leading to a dangerous and surreal confrontation. Owen describes how he was overtaken by security personnel, including a black woman named Emery Polian, who he later learned was Jeffrey Epstein's property manager. Despite being trespassing, Owen was treated with extreme hostility, hogtied, blindfolded, and placed in an underground cement room he refers to as the dungeon. During this time, he was denied water, confined to a scorching cell, and subjected to aggressive behavior by his captors. He recounts phone conversations overheard on speaker, revealing discussions about duct taping and other extreme measures. Owen's captors referred repeatedly to someone called the owner, later identified as Ann Rodriguez, Emery's mother and Epstein's property manager, who reportedly has deep involvement in managing the island and its operations. Owen was shocked by the brazenness of these acts, highlighting that despite the island's notoriety, no pedophile-related arrests had been publicly made, yet kidnapping and hostage-like detainment occurred openly. Eventually, police investigators arrived at the island, much to Owen's relief. The Virgin Islands police appeared to take the kidnapping seriously, focusing more on uncovering who restrained him than his trespassing. During the arrest process, a physical altercation occurred when a man mistakenly accused of assaulting a pregnant Emery was tackled, despite Owen's assurances that he was not responsible. Owen was taken into police custody, but bonded out after paying $500. The other 2 men in the group avoided arrest to protect their careers. The harsh response from island management, including multiple kidnappings and arrests, suggested a pattern of concealment and intimidation. Discussion then turns to the ownership of Little St. James. Public records indicate billionaire Stephen Deckhoff bought both Little St. James and the nearby Greater St. James Islands. However, Owen expresses skepticism about the billionaire's active involvement, citing the continued presence of Epstein's management staff, including Ann Rodriguez, who has a history documented extensively in Epstein's files. This continuity raises questions about the legitimacy of any supposed rebranding or resort development plans. Rodriguez's maintained control, her violent behavior, and the fact that civil lawsuits have been filed against Owen and his team for trespassing, even though there is no clarity on the island's actual ownership, create a cloud of mystery and suspicion about who truly controls the island and for what purposes. The episode expands beyond the immediate events to address larger political and societal concerns. Owen and Ryan reflect on how deep corruption and blackmail have embedded themselves within American institutions. Both express disillusionment with political leadership and the illusion of American exceptionalism, lamenting how partisanship and systemic issues obscure truth and justice. They acknowledge ongoing struggles with major geopolitical alliances, notably concerning Israel, questioning U.S. policies that appear to cater excessively to foreign interests to the detriment of domestic priorities. They foresee generational shifts in attitudes about these issues and call for sweeping political reform, including constitutional amendments to address term limits and money in politics, suggesting a realignment is necessary to restore the country. Ryan Dalton lays out a detailed case questioning the official narrative of Jeffrey Epstein's death, arguing that Epstein left the jail cell alive. He outlines compelling evidence gathered from the Epstein files, legal documents, and independent investigations, emphasizing three main possibilities: death by suicide, murder, or staged disappearance, with Dalton advocating the last as having the fewest inconsistencies. Key pieces of evidence include an Austrian passport found in Epstein's possession with valid entry and exit stamps, an elaborate restructuring of Epstein's estate and trusts days before his supposed death, suggesting preparation for ongoing financial control, and a handwritten evasion plan document recovered from his jail cell mentioning concerns like red notices, guards, and specific escape routes. Dalton highlights massive failures and suspicious anomalies in the jail's security protocols, such as cameras going offline, guards neglecting their duties, and Epstein lacking a recommended cellmate despite past suicide attempts. The improbability of these failures coinciding by chance adds weight to the theory of a planned extraction. They also scrutinize forensic inconsistencies around Epstein's autopsy, noting discrepancies in medical records concerning conditions like prostate cancer and possibly a mismatched autopsy body, supported by photographic comparisons of ears and noses. The pair argue that the official suicide narrative was deliberately simplified and polarizing, favoring a false binary to distract from deeper truths. Ben and Ryan speculate that Epstein's operation was a long-standing, highly sophisticated blackmail scheme leveraged against political and influential figures globally, enabling a stranglehold on governments and institutions. Epstein's documented use of cameras on his properties and his vast trove of compromising material made him a dangerous player with insurance policies. The podcast touches on how Epstein's cases and those of close co-conspirators like Ghislaine Maxwell have been mishandled or ignored by U.S. authorities, contrasting with more active investigations abroad. They suggest that many institutions, including the DOJ and FBI, are compromised or unwilling to fully expose the network out of fear or loyalty. The conversation dives into the broader implications of such corruption for the future of American democracy and governance, and raising fears about the influence of shadow governments, hidden conspiracies, and the erosion of public trust. Acknowledging the risks and challenges, Owen and Dalton discuss efforts to mobilize public awareness and action. They describe initiatives like the Epstein Isn't Dead campaign, reward pools for proof of life, and the launch of Closed Horizon, an information marketplace designed to incentivize whistleblowers by funding courageous sources who provide verified intelligence. They advocate for the creation of an Epstein Truth Commission, akin to the 9/11 Commission or the Church Committee, to conduct a transparent and independent investigation into Epstein's network and the surrounding cover-up. The goal is to hold accountable those involved and provide justice for trafficking victims. The episode ends with an emotional appeal to listeners to question official narratives, support survivor efforts, and demand institutional reform, underlining the urgency of confronting these dark realities for the sake of future generations. Toward the end, The guests share a moment of camaraderie centered on personal philosophy, gifting a Roman denarius featuring Marcus Aurelius to the host as a token of resilience and truth-seeking. This gesture symbolizes their commitment to facing difficult truths with courage and steadfastness, embodying the Stoic principles essential to their mission. Both Owen and Dalton describe the present moment as an epistemological crisis, a widespread breakdown in public trust regarding the nature of truth due to rampant deception, disinformation, and institutional complicity. They emphasize the need for a new paradigm that prioritizes authentic knowledge over manufactured narratives, fostering an informed public able to confront entrenched conspiracies. They stress that uncovering and confronting the Epstein scandal is part of a broader effort to restore transparency, justice, and accountability in governance and society, framing it as a pivotal struggle for the soul of the nation.